Like, share, tag your friends, leave your comments down below. Classic Unique New York with Nathan Kaufman sign off. And you know what? You all have been doing exactly that, and it has been so awesome. So much enthusiasm and so much sharing and commenting that we've been learning more and more as we go. And the most popular episode of season 1 was Washington Irving and the Origins of Gotham. And if you haven't caught it, be sure to check it out. But you shared so many resources and information that we had to come back and revisit it. So we're doing just that. It's October, and in honor of Washington Irving's undeniable influence on Halloween, we are returning to the subject of this awesome New Yorker, Washington Irving, in 2 parts. This is the first part, and so, in collaboration with you, the viewers, this is Washington Irving Revisited. Yes, the legend of Sleepy Hollow and the character of the Headless Horseman were very influential on the traditional themes of Halloween. But Halloween is not the only holiday that Washington Irving influenced thematically, at least here in the United States. Now, we're going to talk about Christmas here, so consider this a spoiler alert if there's any young children watching. In Irving's book, The History of New York, St. Nicholas pays a visit. But this St. Nick seems a lot fatter and jollier than the traditional Dutch saint. This is the first time we see St. Nick evolve into the Santa Claus that we've grown accustomed to. This image of Santa Claus was blatantly borrowed only a few years later in the most famous of all Christmas poems, A Visit from St. Nicholas, otherwise known as The Night Before Christmas, written by Washington Irving's friend, peer, fellow New Yorker, Clement Clarke Moore. Washington Irving's writings also popularized other English customs around Christmas, like kissing under the mistletoe and burning the Yule log. Another American tradition around Christmas, gratuitous consumerism. Washington Irving coined the phrase, the almighty dollar. And as discussed in the first episode, Washington Irving was the first person to call New York City Gotham. Gotham coming from the Anglo-Saxon Goatham, meaning goat home or goat village. Really, he was calling New Yorkers as foolish as goats. And much later, Gotham City was born to house the fictional characters of all the incarnations of Batman. But there's a deeper level than that. Washington Irving was certainly familiar with the legend of Gotham, Nottinghamshire in England, wherein the citizens were expecting a visit from King John. Now, in those days, when the King of England traveled on a road, that road then became a public highway, and the impending taxes that would come with that becoming a public highway did not appeal to the citizens of Gotham. So collectively, they feigned madness to deter the king from visiting. They convinced the court of England that this was a town of crazy people, a whole city of the insane. Remind you of something? Now, there was a number of legends just like this, and it did inspire the nursery rhyme, 3 Sailors of Gotham. So again, Washington Irving was calling us a bunch of loonies, and it is alluded to in Batman that Gotham City was originally created to house the criminally insane. And in Batman's Arkham, the Joker recites the poem, 3 Sailors of Gotham. 3 wise men of Gotham, they went to sea in a bowl, and if their bowl had been stronger, my song would have been longer. More penguin than Joker, oh well. These days, Christopher Columbus is quite controversial. We know he didn't discover America. He actually never set foot on North America, only in islands of the Caribbean. He didn't even know where he was. He thought he was in India, which is why indigenous people of the Americas are often referred to, quite offensively it should be noted, as Indians. He didn't prove the earth was round. That was already common knowledge in 1492. Christopher Columbus's regime was responsible for the torture, enslavement, and murder of hundreds of thousands of people. And now he has a national holiday. Why? Who wrote the story of Christopher Columbus as an American hero? I'll give you one guess. Washington Irving's satirical biography of Christopher Columbus, written in 1828, gave Italian immigrants, who were often experiencing much persecution and prejudices, proved to the American people that they were a part of the American story. And they are. But not because of Christopher Columbus. And now, the Irving House. We received many comments from you all discussing the fact that Washington Irving never lived at the Washington Irving House, here at 122 East 17th Street, otherwise known as 49 Irving Place. The rumor that he once resided here was probably spread by actress, writer, and arguably the first professional interior decorator, Elsie de Wolfe. Now, his nephew, Edgar, did live next door at 120 East 17th Street with his son, who was named Washington, and Irving Place was named after Washington Irving back in 1833. So it's true, Washington Irving never lived at the Washington Irving House. But we weren't talking about this house. We were talking about this one, at 11 Commerce Street here in Greenwich Village, still under renovations and valued at over $7 million. The plaque says Washington Irving Jr. Now, the best we could find out through research is that Washington Irving's sister may have lived here. But which one? He had a few. Did she name her son after his nephew? Maybe. It's not hard to believe there were other family members that were being named after Washington. Or did they put this plaque up to raise the value of the home? Not hard to believe. Just 3 doors down, the Aaron Burr House, 1802, a house built in 1830 on the property of what was once owned by Alexander Hamilton's assassin and Washington Irving's friend, Aaron Burr. The plaque was put back up to increase the value of the home because Alexander Hamilton's so hot right now. So we know that Washington Irving never lived at either of these 2 residencies. In fact, he spent most of his career abroad, but at the latter end of his life, he did return to New York, to the land he felt most connected with, and the land that he made famous, Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown, where his residency, Sunnyside, can still be visited and explored. And that is exactly what we're doing on our next Washington Irving episode. We're heading back up the Hudson to go to Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, visit Irving's grave, explore Sunnyside, and explore another graveyard wherein lay the remains of individuals who influenced Washington Irving for characters of the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Be sure to join us. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe. And you can see previous episodes here. See you real soon.